Hey guys, by Austin Ramos, and the Miami Dolphins did not win today. It's very unfortunate, but the final score was Colts 27, Dolphins 17, and they just did not look good. And just as the previous games, they started to come alive in the fourth quarter offensively, but at that point, it's too little, too late. It was Miami Dolphins had 14 points in the fourth quarter to the Colts 10, and even then they still lost by 10 points. It was just ridiculous. Now, the defense, I wouldn't say is to blame for this game. You can't blame the defense when the time of possession is 100% not in their favor. A lot of times they did the things that the Dolphins needed to do. Now, time of possession was 37 minutes and 9 seconds for the Colts, 22 minutes and 51 seconds for the Dolphins. There was a lot of things that compounded into the Dolphins losing this game. One of them are like critical penalties, like on 4th and 3 or so, jumps offside. Brandon Scarlett jumps offsides on a punt, giving the Colts a first down. Top of that, later in the game, Jakeem Grant muffs a punt, but that's warranted. What goes around comes around. Miami Dolphins forced a muffed punt early in the game, which set up their first 3 points. And then the Dolphins get 14 points in the fourth quarter. You cannot have a gap of the second and third quarter of not scoring points. Now, I talked to some guys on Twitter. I believe his name was Marcus. And me and him had a good exchange. He was calling for reaching it to come out on the field and showcase his skill at quarterback because Jacoby Brissett was not cutting it. And then just like as the previous games, as I mentioned, in the fourth quarter, Jacoby Brissett woke up and found his stride, but it was too little, too late. At that point, Miami Dolphins are already so far behind that it's not helping you, especially when the time is against you. Now, here are some of the keys to victory that I said in my preview video that we didn't execute, obviously, losing this game. They didn't establish a running attack, which went into the second one, which was developing play action plays. Can't do that if your running attack is very limited. 35 total yards rushing for the Miami Dolphins as a team. That's not good. Now, defensively, limit Jonathan Taylor, the running back from the Colts. He had 103 yards on 16 carries. He had a touchdown, and his longest one was the touchdown, which was 38 yards. He's a really good running back. I don't blame the Miami Dolphins defense for struggling to stop him. That's warranted. But then the next thing was make Carson Wentz uncomfortable. The defense did that. He got sacked twice for a loss of 18 total yards, and he got hit 8 times. Like, the defense was in Carson Wentz's face. And they were doing a good job of breaking up passes and getting to the ball as soon as possible. They can only do so much when you're on the field for nearly 60% of the game. So that's something that really hurt the Miami Dolphins. Now I said all that stuff, let's go over some stats, and we're going to run through these real fast. Carson Wentz went 24 of 32 for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, was sacked twice for a loss of 18 yards. Jacoby Brissett, 20 of 30. He went 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 sacks for a loss of 21 yards. Jonathan Taylor led the Colts with 16 carries, 103 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. Longest was 38. Malcolm Brown was the Dolphins' lead back, but 8 carries, 23 yards. Longest was 4. I mean, it was very unproductive out of the backfield. But can't really complain about that either because your offense is playing catch-up. You have to throw the ball more. We need to establish a lead early on in the game for Miami Dolphins to develop this running attack, which has been missing for the last couple of years, and it's been very concerning for the Dolphins. Michael Pittman was the Colts' leading receiver, 6 receptions, 59 yards. Following him was Zach Pascal, 4 receptions, 44 yards. And then last but not least, Mo Alley Cox, 3 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Whoever has him in fantasy, good job. For the Miami Dolphins, Devontae Parker went 4 receptions, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest was 42. I mean, he came alive in the fourth quarter, but that's because Jacoby Brissett was finally letting go of the ball, throwing it out. Mike Gesicki, 5 receptions, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest was 22. And then Jalen Waddle was pretty good early in the game. Couldn't get him the ball the rest of the game. Jalen Waddle went 3 receptions for 33 yards. I have no idea. All right, Darius Leonard recovered the Jacoby Brissett fumble. It's upsetting. And then Ashton Doolin recovered the Jakeem Grant punt fumble. Now Blake Ferguson recovered the Naheem Hines fumble off the muff punt. That's about it for the Miami Dolphins. It does extend their turnover streak, but it's honestly just ridiculous at this point. Darius Leonard was the most impactful player for the Colts this week on the defensive side of the ball. 8 total tackles, 5 solo. He had 1 tackle for a loss and 1 pass deflection. He did have a busted coverage, though, when it came to the Nagasaki touchdown. Aside from that, near perfect game out of Darius Leonard, and he did recover that fumble, like I mentioned just a bit ago. Jason McCourty was the Miami Dolphins' leading tackler, 8 total, 2 solo. Following him was Eric Rowe, but honestly, I'm not mad at the defense. The defense can only do so much, as I've been mentioning. The offense needs to get better. Let's look at the punting. Actually kicking. Rodrigo Blankenship had 2 field goals for 2, and longest was 43 yards. He went 3 for 3 on extra points. Jason Sanders 1 for 1 on field goals. Longest was 38 and 2 extra points. So it just comes down to the offense. It's just, I don't know what it is. Is it the play calling? Is it the execution? What is the Miami Dolphins' problem on the offensive side of the ball? They're not getting first downs. That's evident. They're not waking up until when it really matters, and sometimes it's too little, too late to be doing what they're doing. It's unfortunate. And this is really killing the Miami Dolphins. Now, a lot of errors that have compounded and hurt the team, that's evident. But can only do so much. So let's update you guys on the standings, and then we'll close out this video. The Tennessee Titans and the Jets are going into overtime as I'm making this video. So there's limited information on standings in that terms. But Buffalo won today. They improved to 3-1. New England plays the Buccaneers. They are ahead of the Miami Dolphins in the standings, but I am expecting the Patriots to lose this game. So Dolphins could stay in 3rd in the AFC East right now. And the Jets might get their first one against the Tennessee Titans. I never even saw that coming. That's out of left field. But it's very possible. But the Jets are still 0-3 at this moment. So if New York wins, Miami drops to 4th. But then if the Patriots lose as well, Miami Dolphins jump to 3rd, I believe. Aside from that, is this a shaky start for the Dolphins. Indianapolis gets their first win, so they are no longer tied for last place in the AFC South with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I expect them to be contenders, at least in this division, competing with Tennessee for that first place spot. I don't believe Houston has what it takes to win the division, and Jacksonville is far from it. They're still a young team and still rebuilding. Jacksonville's 0-4. Indianapolis is 1-3. Houston is 1-3. And then Tennessee could be 3-1 or 2-2. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. Aside from that, that just wraps up our Week 4 post-game review. Miami Dolphins hosting the Indianapolis Colts. It was an ugly game. Lots of screaming in this chair, looking at that TV. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully, the brighter days are to come for the Miami Dolphins. That's all I hope. All right. Well, have a great day, and thanks for watching.